going on, guys, and welcome back to another 2042 video. And today I thought I'd share with you guys some of my tips that help me in game with gunplay and changing some system settings I changed to improve my overall experience. But I've spent quite a lot of time with 2042 so far. I'm currently level 34, and if you know how hard it is to rank up in this game, it takes quite a long time. But so far with the things I've changed and my experience, I thought I would share with you guys to help you out, and I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet. But just keep in mind, guys, this might not be for everybody, but hopefully there's one thing here to help you out. So let's get into it. Starting off with some system settings, I play on Xbox Series X, so before I jumped into anything, the first thing I checked is the video settings within the game. But the first thing that caught my eye was an FOV slider. Now, if you're playing on PC, you would already be expecting this to be in the game to begin with, so that really isn't anything new to you. But for console players, DICE continued the FOV slider from Battlefield 5, so just keep in mind, here you can adjust to your liking. Also, you can change your FOV, and you can toggle it to apply for your ADS as well. Whether you want that on or not, I have mine on, and I would recommend to do so, but if it is in your liking, obviously you can turn it off. But another thing you may want to turn off before moving on is motion blur. I have no idea why this is default to be on to begin with. Some people may like this, but for me, absolutely turn this off. You'll notice a difference to your surroundings more when moving and getting into gunfights. Motion blur, in my opinion, is just such a negative effect to the game in general, so I'd definitely turn this one off. Now moving on to tip number 2, this is mainly for console players, but I would highly recommend remapping your crouch button to your right thumbstick. Now, I'm going to assume most of you are using the regular Xbox Series X and PS5 controllers. For me, I don't really like changing up a lot of controls, and I really don't mind the 2042 button mapping, but changing your crouch and prone to your right thumbstick has saved me in so many gunfights. And seeing as the melee button is on the right thumbstick by default, it's very difficult to close the distance on enemies to get a melee off to begin with. So I find this super helpful to appoint the crouch and prone button to your right thumbstick, and I highly recommend it. As for tip 3, this is an obvious one, but just stick with your squad or teammates when playing an objective, specifically for breakthrough. So many people are huddled together, and you can always have ammo and health at your feet. And not only that, getting revives is more common, I find. For me, so far, I've been getting plenty of revives and resupplies. My experience might be different to yours, but it's been mostly positive for me so far. Now, don't get me wrong, I'll have medics here and there that'll just walk over my body and not get me up. But what else is new at this point? People not playing their class. That's just how Battlefield games are. But so far, it's been mostly positive for me. Obviously, this is very self-explanatory, but when you work together as a team and stay close to your squad mates, you can stay in the fight for longer. So instead of running off being a lone wolf and getting outgunned by 30 different people because you decide to run off a different side of the map, I just highly recommend playing with your teammates. Now moving on to tip number 4, for weapon attachments, I find having a variety of attachments on the plus system is very helpful due to the amount of medium to long range engagements you'll have in the game. In matches, certain sights I favor over others, but I typically run a red dot and a 4x on hand. I almost have a fully kitted out M5A3, but I find having extended mags on any weapon that you use is extremely helpful. But whatever gun you may be favoring right now, I find it extremely helpful to have a suppressor on hand. This does come in handy if you do end up behind enemy lines. I've used it many times and people really have no idea where I'm firing from, and you don't show up on the minimap when you are firing. So I find this extremely helpful when you're flanking teams. But this is all based on personal preference on whatever attachments you like. I would just definitely recommend going into a game with a handful of attachments on your plus system to use for certain engagements. Which brings us to my last tip, and really that's just picking your engagements. Now, you're probably thinking that's obvious and very self-explanatory, but I've noticed coming from Battlefield 5, we're switching from close quarter to medium range battles to long distance engagements, and I find it extremely hard to challenge people at longer ranges simply because there's double the amount of players and most people are using DMRs. So for the people that are using the assault rifles, all I can recommend is doing burst fire. I don't know why DICE has a weird mechanic for the bloom effects for your bullets. This is something I've noticed over time. If you just do an automatic fire, emptying the whole clip on someone, you will notice that your bullets don't even hit your target. So something that's really helped me out when going into engagements using the M5 or even the SCAR itself, burst firing helps a lot, and you can hit your targets more often than just trying to waste your whole clip on someone. All I can recommend is close the distance and use smoke and be smart, or you'll die a lot. I can't tell you how many times I've lost gun battles thinking I can outgun someone from medium to long range distance away depending on which gun I was using. But that's about it, guys. I just thought I'd share with you some of the things I found and helped me in the game. Again, this may not be for everybody and you may have your own opinion, but for those that were looking for some tips, I hope this helped out. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, consider leaving a like. Also, if you're new to the channel, maybe consider subscribing. Stay safe, guys, play the objective, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.